Welcome back to Angry Guy Hates Everything. And what we're going to talk about today is Jesse Waters from Fox News absolutely hammers the Democrats, the liberals, for their absolute hypocrisy, their failed investigations into the many Trump assassinations. And we've had two so far, and I honestly believe this is just the beginning. This is absolutely the beginning, because it amazes me that the only person getting shot at is Donald Trump. Well, he speaks a lot of vitriol and all of his hateful language. And I just cannot sit here but laugh at the hypocrisy of the liberals. You know, you take Maxine Waters, Joe Biden, who's just been, destroying everybody on the right. And here's the difference. Donald Trump doesn't talk about the Democrats. He talks about the Democrat people that are in high positions, the politicians. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, all of them, they don't belittle Donald Trump. They literally belittle everybody who's a Republican. And that, I've been saying this for years, that is the difference between Republicans and liberals. We don't hate liberals. We hate their ideology. We hate what they stand for. Liberals physically hate everybody on the right. And Jesse Waters has just about had enough, and boy, does he let it fly in this segment that he does on Fox News. So let's watch this, because this is absolutely fantastic.
Fox News alert, it's been 48 hours since Trump was nearly assassinated again. And tonight, we still don't have any answers. Had an assassin with a scoped rifle get within 300 yards of the former president just weeks after Butler? Why wasn't the club's perimeter secured ahead of time? The Secret Service was aware of the opening in the shrubbery, so why didn't they address it? Why wasn't an agent stationed there before the round? Homeland Security has 80,000 armed agents, more than any other department. Where were they? Mayorkas oversees the Secret Service. Why the Disappearing Act? And how'd the shooter know exactly where to be if this was an unannounced foursome?
I am reaching the point of total outrage because the response from the Department of Homeland Security has been totally lacking. In fact, I think it's tantamount to stonewalling in many respects. If necessary, I'll certainly support a subpoena.
So the first case is full of dozens of errors, most of them human errors, and someone needs to take responsibility for that, and I don't think they have had adequately. The Secret Service has not accepted responsibility yet for these failures. If a guy can hang out for 10 hours with a semi-automatic rifle, 100 yards from where the president's playing golf, that's a problem.
And this is the problem here. They wonder why that the American people, well, all the ones with a brain, and unfortunately it's only half of us, while we have absolutely no trust in any branch of the government, any government agency. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I've never really played into conspiracy theories, but I'm getting to the point to believe that these are actually set up assassination attempts on President Trump. I mean, you cannot have this many failures back to back to back. That is impossible. Either they're 1,000% inadequate at their jobs, and then they all need to be let go, and new people need to be brought in, or there's something else going on here that we're never going to have the answers to. We're never going to get the details of everything that has happened on these assassination attempts on President Trump.
Biden-Harris administration wants you to keep your nose out of their business. Former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy says the feds are waging a prosecutorial turf war with the state of Florida to keep total control of the case. Why? Because Biden has his fingerprints all over this.
The former president's protective apparatus allowed for the early identification of the threat and led to a safe evacuation. The increased assets directed by President Biden were in place yesterday.
That's the Secret Service director admitting that President Biden is personally involved in Trump's security detail. Joe Biden, the man who can't protect our border, has gotten personally involved in protecting Donald Trump. Biden's directing which assets Trump's allowed to have and not allowed to have. The same guy who raided Trump's house is in charge of protecting his life. The same guy who calls him a threat is in charge of protecting him from threats. And Trump's been shot twice, almost twice. If Joe Biden really wanted to provide Donald Trump with proper security, he would. But after 2 assassination attempts, there's still gaping holes. The Biden White House still labels him a threat. I guess it all makes sense. Why would you protect a man you consider a threat?
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And like you said, Biden's fingerprints are all over this. They could protect Donald Trump if they wanted to. They just don't want to. There's so many failures that are happening at the level of the Secret Service. And this is the part I just don't understand. There's obviously a Secret Service detail, but there are many known threats against Donald Trump. From Iran, who, by the way, is backing Kamala Harris. They want Kamala Harris to be the president, and that should let you know who to vote for right there. When a terrorist state wants a certain candidate to be president, that should tell you everything you need to know about that candidate. And so apparently they want somebody that will fund them, give them money, or somebody that's just simply weak, as Kamala Harris is. But how can you have the guy who has done nothing but berate and belittle you, and his whole party and the mainstream media has done nothing but attack Donald Trump for, 9 years now? It's been nonstop. And now all of a sudden they're in charge of his life, and you think they're really going to step out of their way to make sure that he's okay? Watch what's coming up here.
Every leader, national leader, or any leader in this country should be calling out political violence and bringing the country together, not dividing it.
Just to be clear, just to clarify, so you're saying that the president and vice president believe that former President Donald Trump should be toning down his rhetoric?
So I'll say this. President Biden has been clear-eyed about the threat that the former president represents to our democracy. He's been clear-eyed about that.
That infuriates me. So they're saying Donald Trump should tone down their rhetoric, when the day after this guy is going to take a shot at President Trump, Hillary Clinton is on, I believe, MSNBC, just absolutely bashing Donald Trump. You know, and this talk about the ultimate hypocrite, because I'm sure everybody saw, and if not, I'll try to do a video on this, where Hillary Clinton came out and said anybody that spreads disinformation needs to be arrested. That is amazing to me. This is the woman who funded the Steele dossier against President Trump, which is nothing but misinformation. And now she's claiming that anybody that spreads misinformation should be arrested. Okay, well, let's start with Hillary Clinton. She is at the top of that list for disinformation because it was her Steele dossier that she funded that got this entire disinformation ball rolling. And now everything's disinformation. It doesn't matter what news channel you watch, what website you go on, everything's disinformation now. And it all started because of Hillary Clinton. So let's get that fact clear right now. But they're saying the guy getting shot at needs to tone down his rhetoric. So basically what they're saying is the Republicans, you all can't say anything, but we, the liberals, can say whatever we want because we're not the problem over here. Just because we call you Hitler, the greatest threat to democracy in history, you know, you're all terrorists, you're violent. Just because we say all that about you constantly, which is absolutely 100% not true, that's okay. We can say whatever we want, but you need to tone down your rhetoric because you're the one getting shot.
After repeatedly being called a wannabe dictator, a threat to democracy who needs to be eliminated, the former president of the United States has survived 2 consecutive assassination attempts, and his political rival, who is now taking a personal role in his security detail, continues to call him a threat.
It's been only 2 days since somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than...
And that hits the point on the head right there. How many more attempts do we have to have before you all quell your rhetoric? Well, that's not a point here. We don't care how many attempts are actually on his life. We're not going to quell our rhetoric at all because we're the Democrats. We can say whatever we want because we have all the support of the mainstream media. So we can do whatever we want because we're going to say something and we're going to let them run with it so they can spread that lie, that misinformation, so they can spread it all over the world. But don't you dare, you Republicans, don't you dare say anything because at the end of the day, this is all your fault. just because we're the ones saying that he's the biggest threat to democracy and he's worse than Hitler, that has nothing to do with it. It's what you all say that caused the problem.
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking.
That is amazing. He just simply asked her, President Trump nearly just got assassinated. When do you all stop your rhetoric? And she's completely disagreeing with the question here. And she actually says that his question is dangerous. This is the hypocrisy of the left. No wonder nobody trusts these people. And how anybody is voting for Kamala Harris is absolutely, it is mind-boggling to me. This entire administration has done nothing but spew out lie after lie after lie, make threat after threat after threat. They're the dangerous ones. They're the ones that are killing America's democracy. I don't see the Republicans suppressing speech, but I sure as hell see the Democrats do it. Elon Musk just released, a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, released how many documents from Twitter? Hell, Mark Zuckerberg just came forward a couple of months ago and said that Joe Biden is the one that had him suppress speech from the right. This is insane to me.
It is also incredibly dangerous in the...
Right there. Because you asked me that question, it's incredibly dangerous. Nothing we say is incredibly dangerous, even though we say all this incredibly dangerous, inflammatory stuff that we spew out of our mouth. That has nothing to do with anything. It's what you guys do on your side.
I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question.
Amazing.
The question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it.
They're putting a target on Donald Trump's back and saying Fox asking questions about it's dangerous. Who's threatening who here? It's dangerous to ask questions in America now. When did this country become like this? A hardcore Democrat with a Biden-Harris bumper sticker came this close to assassinating the Republican nominee for president, and the media is blaming Republicans for radicalizing him.
Let's stop this both sides stuff. It's a bunch, because it's not correct. Right. It is not.
And there again, that's what I was talking about. That's why I kept saying that's amazing. They're blaming us for unhinged liberals taking shots at Donald Trump. Last time I checked, we weren't the ones calling him a Nazi. We weren't the ones calling him Hitler. We weren't the ones calling him a threat to democracy, which is complete bullshit. And let's be honest, he's not a threat to damn democracy. And the constant lies, you go on Fox News forums any day where the liberals are just packed in there like clowns in a freaking Volkswagen. And they're just on there spreading lie after lie after lie after lie all day long, nonstop. So I guess it's true that George Soros really does fund them, give them, 2 cents a post, because nobody can be this stupid and believe all this stuff. But now we have Whoopi Goldberg, this complete hypocritical idiot. You got to remember, who 9 years ago was a good friend of Donald Trump's. 9 years ago, when Donald Trump was thinking about running for president, they thought he was going to run as a Democrat, and they loved him. Then he decided, you know what, like so many other people, I mean, it's daily, people are leaving the Democrat Party, daily. He thought, like so many other people, well, the Democrat Party is no longer the Democrat Party. Now it's the left-wing, nut, fringe, liberal party. I didn't leave them, they left me, so I'm going to go to be a Republican, the side of common sense, decency, normalcy, the things that the left said goodbye to long ago. They instantly turned on him at that point. So we went from loving him to hating him in a day. And watch Whoopi Goldberg here in her big, fat mouth. She's literally going to sit here and say that it's the right that has to tone down, not the left. Everything they're saying is okay, but we can't say anything. Watch this.
Let's stop this both sides stuff.
It's a bunch,
because it's not correct. Right. It is not both sides. It is one clear side, and you can point to many, many reports. You can point to all kinds of stuff that's been reported. You guys have to pull it back. This is not us or them. This is you got to stop doing what you're doing.
We went from the country needs to tone down the rhetoric to just one side does. The side who someone's trying to kill. The victim needs to shut up and take it. CNN says Trump had it coming.
Donald Trump, as Essie said, and it's absolutely true, he created this specter of political violence that we all now live under, and he lives under it too. And so it is his rhetoric that has been, creating this environment for the last 8 years.
The New York Times says Trump seems to inspire people to make threats or take actions both for him and against him. Where have we heard this before? She made me hit her. I didn't want to hit her, but she made me do it. She just wouldn't stop talking. Or look at the way she was dressed. She was asking for it. Democrats aren't condemning political violence. They're justifying it, just like they justified the Black Lives Matter riots. It's systemic racism's fault, and it's mostly peaceful. Don Lemon says if Trump doesn't want to get shot, he should just shut up.
So if Donald Trump wants Kamala Harris and others to stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy.
But they can never say how he's a threat to democracy. I cannot tell you how many times I have asked a liberal, how's he a threat to democracy? And they never have an answer. They come back with some completely insane off-topic, well, he lied about this. Well, he lied about that. Okay, well, that's not answering the question. How is he a threat to democracy? Please tell me. And it wasn't even too long ago. What was it, a month and a half ago? I can't remember who it was, but they had one of the CNN anchors was sitting, there's a table of 5 of them. He said, let's be honest. He's no more a threat to democracy than anybody else. That's just a talking point for the liberals. But they keep saying it over and over and over and over. And they love to say that everybody that is voting for Donald Trump is in a cult. And I find that absolutely fascinating. Because if you say something over and over and over and over, we usually don't react on it. We all know Joe Biden's an idiot. We all know Kamala Harris is an idiot. We're not going to go take shots at her. That's not what we do on our side. On our side, we like to debate. We like to reason. We like to talk things out. Prove us wrong. But on the liberal side, you keep saying he's a threat to democracy. They're so unhinged on that side, they will absolutely bear arms and take a shot at Donald Trump. Hell, they've tried twice already, and it won't be the last time. It will not be the last time. We still got, 50 days until the election? Trust me, there's more to come.
Stop saying that he is a threat to democracy, then he should stop threatening democracy.
They're putting a gun to Trump's head and telling him to stop running. That's how they got rid of Biden. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. With Biden, they just threatened to nuke his presidential library and invoke the 25th. With Trump, they're saying assassins are going to keep showing up if you don't bend the knee.
And that's exactly what they're saying. And so, in other words, let me decipher this for you, because he can't say this because he's on Fox News. What they're saying is we're going to keep sending people to kill you until you shut up and go away. We're not going to stop. We are absolutely going to keep sending bad guys, bad unhinged liberals with guns to kill you unless you disappear. And I've got to just kind of interject this one thing. I've been saying this for years. A liberal should never have a gun. That is the most dangerous thing in the world, is a liberal with a gun. And if you want to stop, if you want to get rid of 90% of violence in this world right now, simply ban liberals from having guns. There was, 33 people shot in Chicago last weekend? I'll bet you $1 million not a one of those shooters was a Republican or a MAGA. I'll bet you any amount of money you want. But I bet you any other amount of money you want that they were liberals.
What they want Trump to do is stop telling the truth. Stop talking about illegal immigration. Stop saying you want peace in Ukraine. Stop.
And this is what it really comes down to. Jesse Waters hits the nail on the head. This is what the entire problem is. Because Donald Trump's not a threat to democracy. He's a threat to Democrats. And he absolutely drives this point home wonderfully. And if you get nothing else from this video, listen to this next segment right here.
Assassins are going to keep showing up if you don't bend the knee. What they want Trump to do is stop telling the truth. Stop talking about illegal immigration. Stop saying you want peace in Ukraine. Stop fingering us for rigging debates. And stop telling jokes because people like you too much. And more than that, stop whining about almost getting shot. Biden makes up stories about getting shot. Trump gets shot, but he's not allowed to talk about it. The Atlantic says no other president has used an assassination attempt to inflame American politics the way Donald Trump has. Well, that's because JFK didn't survive. Two crazy women tried to shoot Ford, and Reagan was shot by a lunatic trying to impress Jodie Foster. Neither men had been treated the way Trump's been treated. Blaming Democrats for Democrats shooting you isn't inflaming. It's called accountability, something Democrats aren't used to because the media doesn't do its job. Tens of millions of Americans fantasize about seeing Trump tortured, bankrupt, and humiliated. They have emotional issues and project them onto society.
And that is true. That's absolutely true. Every liberal, I have spoken to liberals, their hatred of Donald Trump is absolutely insane to me. And I'm going to start a series called Comments from Fox News Forums. Because, like I said, this place is just saturated with liberals. And the day after Donald Trump was physically shot, you should have seen all the comments on there. Too bad he missed. Wish they would have killed him. I mean, it was thousands of comments. You know, when can I have a shot? Maybe we need to get a better shooter. And that is insane to me that people actually think like that in America. You know, as much as I can't, and I'm just going to tell you, take it for what it's worth. Kamala Harris is the dumbest politician in Washington. She's an idiot. That's why she never answers any question. She doesn't know how. She doesn't have the answers. She is straight up stupid. I don't wish her shot. I don't wish her dead. I just wish her to go away so we can get America back on track. But the liberals absolutely want Donald Trump dead. So if we have 200 million voters in this country, and if we split them up and we say there's 4% independent, 48% Democrat, 48% Republican, 48% of the people want Donald Trump dead. That's what's wrong with this country. And I've said this. I've been saying this for a while now. I hope it never happens, but I absolutely could see some type of civil war coming about because the anger in the country right now is by far the highest I have ever seen it. We are at DEFCON 1 right now. And when you have one half of the populace that wants physical harm to the other half of the populace, sooner or later, something's going to explode. And it's not going to be pretty.
You isn't inflaming. It's called accountability, something Democrats aren't used to because the media doesn't do its job. Tens of millions of Americans fantasize about seeing Trump tortured, bankrupt, and humiliated. They have emotional issues and project them onto society. It's not our fault they need to get it together. Someone wrote a great book about that. Answer this question. Have the Democrats shown us that they don't want more bad things to happen to Trump? The left doesn't seem scared about what might happen to Trump. They're more scared of how Trump reacts to it.
You hear this fight, fight, fight chant, which you heard Trump do right after the shooting in Butler. We saw that once again on Truth Social. That does scare me a little bit.
That's amazing. That scares her. Not a guy with a gun pointing a barrel straight at your head. That doesn't scare us. What scares us is when Trump says fight, fight, fight. And this is one of those things they've taken out of context 1,000 times. He's not saying fight, 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 as in let's fight the liberals, let's fight the Democrats, which we're getting to the point where we're going to have to because their insanity is at full level. I mean, they're rampant. They're full on crazy right now. He's saying fight, 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 as in you can't take me down. I'm never going to stop. But leave it to a liberal to pull everything out of context like they always do.
They're not scared of Trump getting shot. They're scared of Trump getting back up and fighting. It scares them that no matter what they throw at him, and he keeps going. Even after assassins surround his rallies and his golf courses, he keeps going. Trump's not a danger to the country. They know that. He's a danger to them. He's a danger to their status, their control over you, and a threat to expose the dirty deeds they've done. The Trump agenda for working men and women threatens the entire Democrat coalition that's kept them competitive for decades. CNN's already been pulverized by America First. No ratings, no respect. ABC World News Tonight, after David Muir's biased moderation of the debate, has lost over 10% of its audience. The Biden family legacy has been obliterated after a single debate. The Clinton dynasty, that's in tatters. And Donald Trump didn't defeat his opposition with lies and lawfare or bullets. He won it fair and square. This is a fight for survival, and these people aren't going to stop.
I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. They should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump, his demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it.
They aren't going to stop, and neither's he. And here's why.
You wonder why it gets shot at, right? You know, only consequential presidents get shot at. But what can you do? You have to do what you have to do, right? We have to be brave.
And that's amazing to me. The very day after Donald Trump gets shot, the day that they when attempted shot at, when they arrest this guy, it's all over the airways. We got to stop the rhetoric. We got to stop the rhetoric, which instantly turns to the right has to stop the rhetoric. The right has to stop the rhetoric. Then the very next day, Hillary Clinton goes on the air and starts spewing this. And they wonder why insane, unhinged liberals are taking shots at Donald Trump. And I got to tell you, this is one of the best pieces I think I've ever seen on news. Jesse Waters absolutely hits the nail on the head with what's going on between the right and the left. They don't care if Donald Trump gets killed. Actually, it would make them happy and their lives easier if Donald Trump gets killed. Because, like I said, like Jesse said, he's not a threat to democracy. He's a threat to Democrats.